We have authors on Jersey Magazine all the time, but this one in particular is a very unusual story. Oliver James is the author of a brand new book called Unread, a memoir of learning and loving to read on TikTok. Oliver, good morning. And let me start by this. At the age of 32, you finally decide it's time to start reading. What was the turning point for you?
Um, 32. I mean, you would think it would be much earlier, but honestly, as we grow, we know like we get older and it gets harder. And at 30, it kicked in. It started to let me know like if you don't teach yourself to read or if you don't learn how to read, it's not going to get easier. It's only going to get harder. And that was the wake up. Like I realized I was like, I can't take care of myself. I'm a grown man. I'm not a kid anymore. I'm like, I can't take care of myself. So I was like, we had to do this. We had to start learning to read.
And a few years ago, you go on TikTok with 5 words. What's up? I can't read.
Mm.
What a way to start on this journey, Oliver.
Mm. Ma'am, it is I give the credit, you know what I'm saying, like to Ann. She's the one that told me to open up and talk about things that come from inside, like what's wrong, like why are you working so hard to try to, to try to be something. And I'm like, because I want to be successful. I want to be this. I want to be able to like, okay, then just do that. Why are you working so hard at it? Like, why does it seem like such a struggle? And I'm like, oh, because I struggle at reading. Like, it's like, well, why don't you talk about that? Because you're not gonna reach the level you're trying to reach if you don't start working on some of those problems. And and that's when it came. It was like, all right, well, what's up? I can't read. It's like, what? Like, we gotta start fixing this problem.
And here's the thing that gets me, Oliver, is because social media, for the most part, is our greatest hits. Hey, look at me. Look what I did. And we're patting ourselves on the back or we're looking for some kind of adulation. And you go in the complete opposite direction with a very open and very, I think, a bold way to open up yourself to people who are watching you. I'm floored by that approach and proud of you for that matter.
I think I look at it a little like, don't get me wrong, I'm human. So I have the same, insecurities and I've battled the same fears and anxieties that anyone does. It depending on how they affect you, is how it's gonna be towards you. And I get affected. But I think one of the things I look at with social media is not like glorifying where I'm at. It's kind of like glorifying where I'm headed. So it's like I'm not looking at it like a today thing. I'm looking at it like, well, in like maybe 10 years I'll use social media and be like, hey, like look at all this great things I've accomplished. But I'm like, right now I ain't done that. So I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing right now. And hopefully that motivates me to stay focused and not like give up.
How did you get through the educational system without being able
Just
to read?
lie, cheat. You know how things in like anything else in like how do you get through things? Like if you don't know how to do it, you make it up, you fake it, you lie, you cheat, you manipulate, you don't tell the truth. You just do anything you can to try to fit in. And even if that means you faking your things and you lying about things and it's not right, but it makes you feel like you're not like different because because people are like, all right, well, I believe you. But I'm like, but I lied. But it's like, well, now you fit in because you lied. It's like, great, cool. That's it.
I don't remember the day I came home to my parents from first grade and said, I can read. I do remember the first book. Very,
Hmm.
very simple words. In fact, I can still recite like the first chapter of the book in its entirety. So I do
Hmm.
remember that satisfaction of wow, I can do this. But in looking back, I think of how difficult the English language is, and I'll give you an example that I'm sure you've come across: the word one, O-N-E, and then you put a D in front of it, and one done. Well, take the D away, put a B in front, and now it's not bun, it's bone. And there are so
Yeah,
many,
yeah.
there's so many examples. And then you get, to silent letters. My last name
Hmm.
has a silent G. It throws people all the time. This is a very, very difficult language to learn, let alone at the age that you decided, I can't do this anymore. I have to learn how to read.
Yeah, it kind of fell on me. I started using voice to shout out to technology. A lot of people, like a lot of things that people don't see can be beneficial. don't get glorified. Like it doesn't get the glorification that it needs. Like voice text is part of the reason why I've learned 99% of my reading because I was able to see the words as I talked to the phone. And then I memorized the words. That's where 99% of my motivation to like say, okay, I can read. Like, why? I'm like, because I memorized it. We spend so much time on our phones. You know what I mean? Like, it was only gonna happen if you spend so much time talking to your phone, talking to your phone. I was like, after a while, I started to be like, I know how to read. I know these words. I'm like, it's like, that's what happened. That's kind of how it fell on me. And that's when I was like, hold on, I can read. But then I went on that journey, like, I can read. I mean, I'm reading. I'm doing this. And they're like, yeah, I got evaluation at the time. They're like, you're at a fourth grade level. Surprisingly, you got really great. You got about a fourth grade level, fifth grade level reading. And they were like, but we're going to teach you how to like read phonics. Completely shattered everything that I learned. I went to zero. They were like, now how can you read? I was like, I don't know this. What is this? They're like, this is phonics. This is read. I'm like, I don't know anything. I don't know this. And they're like, and that's when I realized I was like, okay, you're right. I was like, yeah, I can't read. They're like, no, you can't read. And I was like, you taught yourself and great, you did this, memorized words, but you can't read. You don't know the code of reading. And I'm like, oh. And like, only way you're gonna get that honestly is after you learn phonics or you just continue to read as much as you possibly can and you can build it up. But it's so much harder without getting the phonics. Like, I would advise anybody out there if you have younger kids or anybody and they're learning through sight, skip that, give them the harder way and go right to phonics because then you give them the code. It's like you're giving them the code to speech. When I speak, I don't think. I just speak. When I read, I think. I have to think of each word. A lot of you read, don't think. You just read. I'm like, I have to think because I don't have the code of reading. I have like a memorization of it. And that part, like, that's the part that I tell a lot of people, like, you want to have your kids to be able to read like they speak. Like you want them to have it equal. Like I don't read like I speak. My reading is completely separate from me. Yeah, I have to lock in and look at each word and see like, okay, I know which word this one, and then that's how I read.
In a recent video, in fact, you were trying to get through the word catalyst, and you
Yeah,
even stopped and looked at the camera and said, I know this word. I know what
yeah,
this word is.
because I've
I,
seen it.
right. But, and then you're going through the pronunciation of it,
Yeah,
sounding each letter out.
yeah,
And it was
yeah.
fascinating to watch that, Oliver.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. I don't think people realize like my phonics is at like a beginner level. My memorization's at like a high level. Like so that's why I'm like, oh, I know this word. I'm like, because I've seen it, so I'm trying to remember it. I'm like, but that can only get you so far. Like I'm stuck. Like in the end of the day, if you're reading and you're like, eventually maybe memorize it after a while. But I'm like, that could be 20 minutes. Sitting there trying to memorize one word. But when you got the code, oh, come on now. Like, you 20 minutes, you're like, I'm done to a person who's all stuck on that one word, the other person's done with the book. They're like, I finished the book, man. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, that part.
What was the moment that made you say, now I want to write a book? Never mind read one. I want to write one.
I think it was support. Like it was the support from social media. So I spent my entire life thinking that you don't get support for something like this. So to get support from it, I was like, well, if I'm getting support for something like this, then maybe I should write about it. Like maybe people would read a book. Maybe people would want to hear my story. Maybe I could help somebody. I don't know if I can, but it made me think because people were giving me like support and saying I could do something with myself. I said, okay, well, I can help. I can help people with myself. I'm like, I want to help. You get this large amount of like energy of life when you realize that you're like, I have more of a reason than to just make money and live. I have a purpose to help someone else want to live, and do more. Like that, there's some about that in our human existence that when you realize you're like, yo, you're helping this person, like their life's getting better because you're just being you. And you're like, you mean tell me this person's doing better in their life because I'm just being myself? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, there's something about that. It's powerful. You start to be like, how much more of myself can I be? Like, how much, like, please, like, I want to do that. I want people to like me more as myself, and want to be more better. And that's what happened. I started being myself, telling people my struggles, and I made friends. I made friendship. I made, opportunities. And I can't be more thankful than that. It's the best gift I've been given, you know, uh, physically, like from a material factor thing, like not from like something from inside, like from material. Like it's like here's this society makes it real hard on people who struggle at reading or struggle at speaking or struggle at anything that you can't fully function. And because of that, the material life that people live, no matter what it is sometimes it's hard and it's really hard. It could be something just as health insurance. Your health insurance is terrible. So it's like, man, I just wish I had better health insurance and I knew how to just get a better job and read and have this and that. And that's what I'm saying right there. I'm like, man, like the material world has become a lot more open to me now because I have more access to maybe get better health insurance, maybe get better dental insurance, maybe actually get health and dental insurance. Like these things are, the material world's like, oh wow, I can get my teeth checked. Wow, I can get gas in my car. Wow, I could. It's like, wow, this is amazing. This is cool. Like learning to read has offered so much access to things that the material world I didn't have access to before. So,
As
you
you've
know,
been on this journey and continue through this journey, what have you learned most about yourself, Oliver?
uh, that like I'm smart. Real talk. Like I'm smart as hell. I didn't know how smart I was. Like I emphasize that as myself too, not like as a max version of myself. So if I tell you like real talk, I'm smart as hell. The people who grew up with me, if you grew up in my neighborhood, you'd be like, yeah, he's smart. Like he got it. Like he understands he doesn't have to be anything other than himself to know. Like I'm a smart mom freaker, man. Like I could do anything I put my mind to, and I don't gotta change myself. I just gotta work hard at it, and I could do it. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all. I didn't know I had that capability. I'll be honest with you.
And reading through the book, I'm going back now, and I mentioned, learning to read in first grade, and I remember, Oliver, there were kids who struggled with certain words, and I remember thinking, wow, how can they struggle? That's such an easy word, but I see so many of the kids that I grew up with
Um,
in those stories that you were telling of growing up in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and going through the educational system.
I don't think a lot of people realize how society shuns certain things and makes people not realize that all of us are experiencing this if we like it or not. Some of us just experience it at different levels. Like I've been athletically gifted my entire life, right? Now, as I was growing up, I would see a lot of kids who want to go pro, who want to go to thing. And I'm telling you right now, I would look at them and be like, why do you want to go pro? Like you're just gonna have to run more. You're gonna have to jump more. I'm like, you're gonna have to do like, why would you want to do that? And like, but in my brain, I'm like, they would do camps. They would go pay for so many different things. They would do all these different things. And I remember I used to be like, the kid who would show up in, boots and doesn't even have equipment, and they'd be like, all right, line up and run. And I'll just dust everybody. And they'd be like, how are you so fast? I'm like, I just run. And I don't know what you're talking about. Like, but in my brain, I'm like, just run faster. Like I would literally, and they would get angry at me. Just run faster. Yeah, just that easy. I'm like, it's that easy. Just run faster. Why don't you just run faster? Like, stop being slow. And I would feel that way. And I can see now, like, why it used to get to them because they really could not run faster. And I was like, wow, that sucks. You can't run faster. I could. If I wasn't even running my fastest, I'll go faster. But in my brain, I'm realizing I'm like that part. Like you see what I'm saying? Like to
Hmm.
something like running to me was came so easy. I used to see people cry after practice and track runs, and I used to be like, why are you beating yourself up so much? And they're like, because I want to get better. And this and I'm like, just do it. Like it just run. But they couldn't. Like there was something that was holding them back, as if like they couldn't push themselves to that space. That's the same place that I'm in with my reading, with education. I see that I'm like, some people looking like, how are you struggling? I'm like, I think about that moment. And I'm like, I just need to run. I just need to run. That's all I need. I'm like, I'm a struggle, but I'm a run. I'm like, I know this because I know that it's that thing. Like I'm gifted in athleticism and physical ability, but I'm not gifted when it comes to this. And I'm like, I gotta work for this. This like that kid who didn't understand he wasn't gifted at running. He gotta work for it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like she gotta work for it. You ain't gifted. You gotta go work for yours. Like he's gifted. You not. But don't mean you can't run as fast as him. You just gonna have to work 10 times harder than him. I'm sorry to tell you. But that's how my reading is. Don't mean I'm not smart. Don't mean I'm not gonna get it. It just means I gotta read 10 times harder than most of y'all to get it. And I'm gonna do it then. That's it.
I know that college is a goal. You've stated
Oh,
that.
heck
How far away
yeah.
from that do you think you are right now?
I'm already in college. I already started my own college. Like, I'm gonna go. You look at me. I educate myself every day. I get up. I do 2 hours of reading. I do college now. So I'm already in it in my head. I'm just waiting for an opportunities to help me afford it. That's it. That's all. Once I can afford it, I'm going. That's it.
The book is called Unread, a memoir of learning and loving to read on TikTok. It's a terrific read, and you can follow along on Oliver's journey on his TikTok at Oliver Speaks One, the number one, Oliver Speaks One. Oliver James, congratulations on the book and best of luck in your continued
Thank
journey.
you. Thank you. You too. Thank you so much.